Welcome to Inspired Living with Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector. Every Wednesday, Marc, along with his special guests, will explore thought-provoking topics and ideas that promote creativity, self-help, healing, happiness, and well-being to inspire you on your spiritual journey. Each week, Marc will discuss different paths to achieving a more spiritual, balanced, happy, and healthy lifestyle. Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual. Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. Marc is a tested, certified, and professional spiritual medium, metaphysical teacher, healer, and spiritual advisor with a spiritual practice based in Seattle, Washington. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
No one is you, and that is your superpower. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be in this magical, magnanimous, magnificent, majestic, marvelous, metaphysical, miraculous, mind-awakening, and mind-boggling, mind-blowing planet of ours. This is Inspired Living Radio. I am your host, Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, here with you yet again for another soul adventure, an inspiring episode to explore, discuss, and discover the many diamonds within each and every one of us, and the many diamonds in our world that have yet to be revealed. So get comfortable, grab your favorite drink, kick back, sit back, or lie back, taking a nice, deep, healing, peaceful, and cleansing breath. And let us prospect together as we discuss today's show topic, which is all going to be about superpowers. This is superpowers. This is, finding out who you are. The book is called Superpowers, A Journey to Self-Health. We're going to be talking with our special guest here in just a second. Read a little bit about her and her journey and how she came to write this book and be here on Inspired Living Radio. But before we do that, always want to give a big shout out and say thank you to all of our inspired listeners from around the globe, the universe, and beyond. My team and I here at Inspired Living Radio are always so humbled and grateful to you for listening, downloading, subscribing, leaving reviews, and voting to make Inspired Living podcast and radio a best inspirational podcast to follow. It's a ranking, and we have been doing this for 3 years running with this this title, I guess, for inspirational podcast. We've been on the air for over 8 seasons, but it's finally nice to have that title of best inspirational podcast to follow. And we just want to say it's because of you, and without you, that wouldn't be accomplished. So we want to say thank you, and we truly appreciate it, and we appreciate you. If you have not yet subscribed, liked, or followed the show, there are a few ways to do that, and there's still time to do that over on our main social media platforms. The main platform is at Facebook. It's called Inspired Living Radio and Podcast, where you can join the community there with listeners from all around the planet. We're also over on Instagram and Twitter, which I guess is now called X. Just look for the handle Inspired for us. That's the number 4. You can always find us on our YouTube channel, Inspired Living Radio, and we are now streaming through Audible and or your favorite podcasting platforms. And you can simply say, Alexa, open up Inspired Living podcast to play the latest episode. So if you're ready to go, you're ready to prospect with me today and discover your superpowers and a journey to self-health, let's get ready to prospect. And as I always love to say, you are the inspired and the inspiration. So let's be inspired, let's inspire others, and let's inspire before we expire. So today, joining us for the first time is Noelle Hipke. She is the author of Superpowers, A Journey to Self-Health, and with an extraordinary focus on helping humankind align and evolutionize themselves to tap into their real-life human superpowers. A visionary leader utilizing decades of knowledge and experience, combining over 200 resources to help you discover and follow your soul mission. I love that because I have soul adventures and Noelle has soul mission. So we're on the same wavelength there. Noelle is a composer of written and visual creative artistry, giving humans a fresh perspective to see and feel the invisible. She has authored detailed traffic engineering proposals, websites, social media artistry, print newsletters, email campaigns, video content, graphic art, and poetry. Noelle is a trailblazer in helping humans transition since 2005 as a senior real estate specialist with a special focus on the elderly, shifting into retirement. Kudos to you for that. That's very, very important. And not just into retirement, but the afterlife, because we all have another soul mission and soul adventure ahead of us, not just now, but more to come. She's been practicing yoga since the age of 14 and is a breathwork guide assisting others to reach enlightenment. You can reach her website. She's on all the social media platforms, but you can go to noellehipke.com, which is the main site. And Noelle, my friend, welcome to Inspired Living Radio. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous, and I loved your intro music. It got me up dancing, by the way.
Good. That's what we're after. So let's jump right into it because this hour blazes by very fast. I'm always amazed of how time flies when you're having fun. But let's just talk about the book. Just introduce yourself to the listening global audience and tell us a little bit more about you past what I read on your bio. And tell us a little bit as we open this book. If you visually with me, take a deep breath, open up this book of Superpowers. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was divinely guided to write this book, and it has been a synchronicity after synchronicity, being guided by children in my dreams. And they came in and told me what to name the book and were yelling superpowers and shouting it because they were ready to have it. So it's been a wild, wonderful ride. And I have learned a ton about myself in the process. And as I did the processing of information, I thought, well, why don't I teach others and inform others how they can understand and access their own superpowers? You know, we're led to believe that we're just ordinary, but we actually are extraordinary. So once we start moving into these higher frequencies, higher dimensions, the whole new world opens up. So it's interesting because even like the book cover has a life of its own, an energy of its own. It's got sacred geometry on the cover, and what sacred geometry means, secrets of the universe. It's architecture of the universe. So I felt like I put all these secrets of the universe in the book. And so when the selection of covers came up, I literally saw it and I felt it in my body, like this is the one. And I noticed when people hold up the book, it looks like it's glowing. So there's definitely an energy frequency through this book that goes through into someone's body, and it helps them embrace a whole new perspective on life.
Very cool. And I love that you use the term sacred geometry. And so for our listeners out there that may be listening, coming back to listen again, or just maybe you're new to the show, sacred geometry is a very interesting topic to me. And I love how you have this on the cover of your book. And if you've never seen what sacred geometry can look like visually, just go to YouTube and type in frequency sand table. And what they do is they actually do different frequencies, and they put salt or sand on this table that vibrates to these frequencies. And the table literally comes alive, like your book, like you said, has a energy to it, has a glow to it. This table comes alive and shows you sacred geometry based just on vibration. It's quite fascinating. It has over 20 million views. It's spectacular. If you want to see the hierarchy of our universe and sacred geometry, that's what you need to go check out. And that's what I thought about when I saw the book cover. Noelle is like, oh, she's got a little sacred geometry going on here. And you talked about the synchronicities of writing this book. I've always been fascinated with coincidences and synchronicities, and even Einstein always talked about, synchronicities and coincidences are God's way of remaining anonymous. Whoever or whatever God is for you, but it's about trusting the process, trusting the universe, and putting this book into people's hands. So from in the book, you have 37 different reasons that we're going to go over. Let's talk about some of these reasons about what prompted you to write this book.
Yeah, I actually sat down and wrote a list one day, and that's how I knew it was 37. So there was, obviously a lot of levels going on here. So a lot of us can't see the invisible, and so we don't think it exists. And some of us can see the invisible. And I thought, how can I explain it and show it for people to understand it better? And now thank goodness, to the bio well, and there's all these scientific inventions coming out that is able to help us identify frequency and energy. So everybody who, thought this isn't real because I can't see it, now it's being scientifically proven, which makes it a lot easier to explain. So I do some diagrams in the book, which helps a lot. And I just wanted to help people identify things as there's behaviors going on that's also invisible. An energy from somebody coming at you and acting out of line, and we tolerate it in many cases, and we put up with it in a lot of situations. So if we can identify something that we decide we don't want to put in our life anymore, it also makes it easier. And I know the younger generations don't know about certain behaviors because they haven't experienced them yet. It's kind of one of those things that when you go through something, you look back and figure out what it is later. And so I thought I want to identify, I cover like ghosting and gaslighting. Like I cover some of the newer topics that we're all dealing with, and kind of how to psychologically handle those and what to do. You pick and choose what works for you. So I tried to create new strategies for this awareness and create new methods. So this helps us heal on a cellular level, at a mental level, and a soul level by claiming our power back. By, if someone doesn't respond to a text after several times, it's let that person go and love yourself. Pull it back to you. You put the energy out, and if they didn't reciprocate, keep yours back. Hold it back, give it back to yourself. So understanding energy and frequency, that is where we're going with this new earth. We're moving out of material world towards more energetic. So who you hang out with, where you work, all carries a frequency and a vibration. And that's more important now than ever, to surround yourself with people who are vibing at a higher rate. When they're vibing higher, you vibrate higher, and you can expand more of your capabilities. So it's just learning more about reading a room through, emotional intelligence, feeling, intuition, and it's accepting the other person for who they are. We could all sit in a room in a circle and witness the same event take a place, and each of us is going to have a different perspective. And one of us might look at the other person thinking they're, nuts because they didn't comprehend it the way you did. But we're all on different levels of comprehension. So in order to accept and appreciate each other for who they are, you can't be judgmental. You need to just let it go, let it flow, and just give them permission to be them, and you permission to be you. So I also wanted to prepare these. What?
Oh, I love let it go, let it flow. Keep going.
Right. So the last one I'll cover, and then we can move on to the next, is I really wanted to teach the younger generations to prepare for the future. Technology has really taken over, and they need to be kind of guided in the right direction because something is new and sparkly and got good marketing does not mean it's good for you or your body. And a lot of that's part of the invisible things that are happening to the subconscious and unconscious mind. So, we put on these watches, these digital watches that are monitoring, everything about us. And we have to think about, where is that information going? What is it doing to our central nervous system, our auric field? What data is being gathered? Your information, that's kind of private, to be honest. A lot can be said about what's going on in that watch and told about you. Are you eating right? Are you exercising? Are you sleeping? Are you feeling good? You're giving that watch a lot of permission to have information about you, as well as whoever's monitoring it on the other end. So this is what I'm talking about, is thinking different. Just because it's shiny, cute, new, and marketed really well, you have to think, is that really good for me?
Yeah, so many diamonds in there. Oh my goodness, so many things that we need to discuss just on that little section right there. It's funny because we've been on the air for 8 seasons now. Inspired Living Radio has, and we've covered many different topics, and we've talked about transformation, alchemy, meditation, frequency, vibration, did shows through the pandemic. And I'm going to come back to this because I believe that this book that we're talking about today in Superpowers, that we're in the beginning stages of the biggest collective awakening ever seen in the history of mankind. Now, of course, people are going to, agree or disagree. That's fine. But a lot of stuff that we've talked about over these 8 seasons has come into awareness, has come into fruition. And you talk about the same things that Nikola Tesla was talking about all the way back in 1865 about if we want to really, truly start to unlock the secrets of our universe, we're going to think in terms of energy, frequency, vibration. And knowing your superpowers, in my opinion, changes everything. It starts with you. It's trusting you, loving you. And even, if you follow Eckhart Tolle like I do, he talks about awareness is the greatest agent for change. And we do have superpowers, and we do have the ability to see and to not see. There's always been the debates about if you didn't see it with your physical eye, it never existed, right? Well, we know that not to be true today based on technology. The microscope, the telescope, the James Webb telescope, the Hubble telescope. There's a lot of stuff out around our world that has always been there. We're just now starting to see it and connect to it through technology. So I think that your book is timely. You talked about, being divinely driven to write this, but I think timing also plays a very important part of this. And it's okay because you said invisibility, but there's a quote from this gentleman, and you'll know who he is in a second. He says, "I don't know why people are so keen to put details of their private life out on public. They forget that invisibility is a superpower." And who said that? Was the artist Banksy, who is known worldwide for his art, but nobody really knows who he is. So I've always found that to be an interesting superpower. And so, for these 37 points, Noelle, that you wrote down, that's also an interesting numerology number because 3 is creativity, 7 is truth, and that adds up to a 1, which is 10, which is individuality. So you've even used numerology that's based on a few interesting concepts for this book. So as you wrote this book and got it published, and I believe you recently won an award, so I want to say congratulations. I was looking, I want to make sure I'm saying this right, the Firebird Book Award winner. Am I saying that right? Yeah, so
yes,
congratulations on that, because it's always nice to be, recognized and appreciated for the work that you're doing. So congratulations on that. And then what have you learned from writing this book? What is your growth, your alchemy, your evolution? What has changed you since you've written this book to where you're at now? Everything.
I went through a complete transformation multiple times.
Yep.
I have to say multiple times. I wrote it in 3 months, and it took over a year to get it out after working with publishing. And now I've written more books because when you've got it coming in, you got to put it out. Got to get it out. So it was just, I've learned that when I do the work, magic happens. And it's funny because, a lot of us we don't want to do shadow work, and we resist a lot of things, and we shut down. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to learn? Surrender, lean in, let go. So it's kind of a different how I would normally react. And, of course, every once in a while we flip up, but we have to, because that's where the lessons are in, those nuggets. So I'll evaluate and go within again and reevaluate. And that's where we all are going to benefit from, just shifting that perspective and our mindset, forgiving ourselves, learning from the lesson, because that's where karma comes in, right? It's going to keep coming back until you figure it out. And so sometimes oh man, it was a test. And I got it this time,
Right.
So yeah, it's so exciting because I can't wait for more people to do it, because you journal after each chapter. That's where the Build Your Own Adventure book comes in. You journal about yourself, you journal about others, you figure out patterns and sequences that you're doing over and over again that you're like, wait, maybe I should change that. Didn't work the last 4 times. Let's reevaluate it and shift it. So in the end, you may have a very good book about yourself that you're going to want to publish, because everybody has a great story that should be shared. It shouldn't be invisible.
So let's open the book. So for our listening audience, let's open this book and let's talk about the layout. So you talked about a lot of journaling. So let's dig a little deeper. Let's go a little bit more prospecting on that. So visually reopen the book, and the opening pages tells me to do what? To create this new adventure.
Okay. So you're going to have several journals. You're going to want to get 3 to 5 journals, I say. And I just say go to the dollar store. You don't need to spend a lot in right now. You just want to have fun with it. A book to release, a journal to release, and then I would say a journal for gratitude. So gratitude every day. I know that a lot of people have been probably doing this. Gratitude in the morning, 3 to 5 things. Gratitude at night, 3 to 5 things. When you go into the state of gratitude, that's when you go into a very high vibration. And when you get into a very high vibration, here's the secret, you can see things that the average human eye cannot see. And this is where that's frequency, right? So releasing anything that's stuck in your past, you write that down in that one journal. I got to release this. I got to let it go. Like I said, get back into flow. That's how you find your flow, is unblocking your chakras, your meridians in the body by writing it down. And then, okay, I'm going to put that journal away. Then I've got my gratitude journal. And if you're in a state of mind where you have to write the same few things down, that's absolutely fine. I have a car. I have a house, whatever. I got to eat my favorite meal.
Water.
Right. Oh, and that's my first chapter, all about water. So
took a hot shower today. Have a roof over my head. Yeah. There's a lot.
Right,
there's a lot to be grateful and thankful for, right?
And it's just, and then once you start to really, then you'll see and that's what happens. So here's the synchronicity. I'll go drive my car. I'll be at a stoplight, and a homeless man will cross the street right in front of my car, and I think, thank you for showing that to me today. I needed to be I'm reminded how lucky I am, how grateful I am. And and then you wonder, what is that guy's story to get him to that point, right? He's got a story too. Wouldn't you kind of be curious to hear what his story is? So give him a journal. Right? So it's just learning more about yourself, understanding others. It's kind of, I have a sticky note up in my house. I'm all about little information that I want to be reminded about sometimes. And I wrote, the world is psychologically messing with you. So every day we have a choice how we're going to handle that.
Yeah.
Right? How are we going to outmaneuver what we are presented? And we are presented a bunch of different opportunities every day and choices. Otherwise, we'd be bored. And it's, every day it's build your own adventure, choose your own adventure, write your own adventure. So, yeah, that's kind of the fun part of the book, writing your own book.
Yeah, and I love where you get into right from the beginning. You talk about water, which is very important, but also that attitude for gratitude, because it does shift your energy, it does shift your auric field, does shift your frequency. And what we're trying to do every day is find our frequency. Like, what frequency do we want to be in? And it's funny you talked about the homeless person, because I've actually had those same thoughts based on storytelling, compassion. I work downtown Seattle, and so I take the bus in. So I see, unfortunately, a lot of homelessness. And I'm always thinking, what put that person to be in this space right now? Like, what got them to this place? Did they give up? Is there, sickness? Is there addiction? And so it's interesting that you had that same thought, because, and I always just send them, compassion too. That's something I think we can do as part of that vibration, is to say, you know what, I hope they figure it out, and I wish them nothing but, happiness and health and a path to where they don't have to be homeless, So it's funny that you brought that up. And, and we can still hold space and send good intentions towards people, even without saying a word, that invisibility, right? So we're going to get ready for our first break here coming up. But for you, Noelle, where's the best place for people to go get this book if they want to start tapping into these superpowers?
Just go straight to my website. I have links for it there. And it's noellehipke.com, hipke.com.
Awesome. And off your website too, it looks like you can purchase at Barnes and Noble and Amazon, kind of the big book sellers, if you will. But it's funny you wrote this in 3 months, but yeah, that editing process is so painful. I just published I co-authored my first book, and it was about a year in the making when I actually did the co-authoring, and then it was about a year before it actually got all published out and into people's hands. So you gotta be patient with that. So, if you want to check out the site, you can go to noellehipke.com. You can check out her new book, or I should say award-winning book, because it's an award winner. And what was the award recognized? What were you recognized for the award? Just curious.
For New Thought and
New Thought. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got 2 words, Inspirational and New Thought. Mm-hmm. And
Inspirational.
I actually have to tell you this. I was #1 new release bestseller on Amazon for 8 days straight when it came out, in 2 categories as well. I know, alternative healing medicine and new age new thought. So that was another really exciting, experience to have too. So I can't wait to
talk
see
about
what people
vibration and frequency. Well, hopefully this show can help. Hopefully this show can help get this book and journal to self-health in their hands, because that's what Inspired Living Radio is all about: promoting, inspiring, sharing, visual, manifesting, all of those good things. So we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we're going to pick up with Noelle on her book, Superpowers, and a journal to self-health. If you stick around, we'll be back here in just a few minutes. This is Inspired Living Radio.
The future of internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free, ascendinghearts.com.
You came across someone struggling with hunger. How would you recognize them? Would you notice an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for summer break
because she may not be having lunch again until September?
Or a war veteran who's having a hard time
landing a job and getting back on his feet?
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
One of the best lessons you can learn in life is to master how to remain calm. Calm is a superpower, and that comes from the late, great Bruce Lee. Welcome to the second half of Inspired Living. Our special guest today, Noelle Hipke, talking about her book, award-winning book, Superpowers, A Journey to Self-Health. And today we're talking about soul adventures, soul missions. We're talking about attitude for gratitude, frequency, vibration, things unseen, and how to tap into our superpowers, because we do all have a superpower. Maybe you just haven't revealed it yet. Maybe that diamond within you hasn't been revealed, but I guarantee you, and I promise you, you have something to share with the world. You have something to offer this world, and hopefully today's episode is going to inspire you to do that. So welcome back, Noelle. Let's pick up where we left off, because there's just so many good nuggets in this book and so many diamonds that we're talking about. With this book, what do you feel that you're teaching others to do with this Superpowers journal, this guide to self-health?
I'm teaching them to believe in themselves. I want them to trust themselves, because your higher self is always guiding you if you are tapped in and listening. And I view the higher self as literally floating above our body, and it can see through all the realms. And that's when we're connected, it's giving us information. That's where the meditation comes in. You connect to that information. It's like a download. So when you do that, then you trust yourself, you love yourself, and you continue to learn more about yourself. And then when you're connected to your higher self, it can read other people and give you information about other people. Just energy-wise, the way they look. When someone walks by, you can get a whole reading off that person. And that's where we're going in the new earth. We're going into being able to, it's going telepathy, which is really exciting. And that is like a universal understanding. That's the universal consciousness. And it's going to be wonderful when more and more people tap in, that you have to change your lifestyle. This is a bit of a lifestyle change, but I always think about it, would you like to have superpowers, or do you want to have the old you or the new you? So there's a lot that we can do and when we do it for ourselves, we do it for others as well, because they're going to benefit, and then they're going to want what you have. They're going to honor your superpowers. You're going to honor their superpowers, and then you're going to be like, this is what I saw happening. It'd be like, what's your superpower? And you know each other's superpowers. And then you'll be out hanging out and be having a situation, and you say, go use your superpowers and make that happen. And so people will go, okay, activate. And then they'll start using their superpowers to manifest more, to love more, to be unconditional, to have compassion, to have forgiveness, because your powers are going to give you the information to understand that other person way better than you ever could imagine, because that's where the telepathy is coming in. So that's what, we're each unique. We're all going to have different capabilities, because all our DNA is different. So I talk about this in the book. Your nutrition is a huge, huge factor on how you're going to operate. Just like we have to have the right kind of gas in our car, our body needs the highest frequency foods to vibrate very high. So there's a lot of light codes in the fruits and organic vegetables and good water. And those light codes, when you consume it, it changes your body on a cellular level, which helps you to vibrate higher and do more things. And that's pretty exciting. You become pure light.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you said, we have to have the right type of gas in our car, right, to make the car. But we're even seeing, as part of the transformation that's taking place globally, is we're moving away from gas to electricity, right? So even that, do you have to have the right electricity, or have the right nutrition, if you will, to activate and trigger the DNA within you? I just think that's a fascinating paradigm shift as well, as we're literally going from gasoline to electric, which is part of that transformation. And the telepathy, for many of us that have been on this path for many years, we accept it as a normal now. But to somebody that's listening to this show, maybe for the first time, they're like, I'm starting just to have this beginnings of telepathy, which is a higher form of communication. It's a higher form of evolution. In fact, a lot of science says, just the way that you and I are communicating right now based off a vibration off a vocal cord is actually quite primitive compared to if you look at the hierarchy of evolution. And so that telepathy is starting to really take hold with scientific backing and people actually starting to have experiences, which is, for me, when it started to happen to me many years ago, I was like, what is going on here? And like, am I going crazy? Is this my imagination? But no, it's really tapping into your authentic self and the alchemy of, becoming, the butterfly doesn't become the butterfly overnight. It actually goes from the caterpillar through the struggle of severe struggle in the cocoon to emerge to something better. And that's where I see our world with all the chaos that's going on, with all of the uncertainty and the anxiety and the like you said earlier in the show, the gaslighting and the misinformation and the disinformation and the historical things, in order to have great global transformation, it's usually preceded by great global chaos. And history teaches us that. So if you want to get into your superpowers, this is a book, y'all, that you're going to want to check out. Get into that programming, get into that journaling. You talked about, real quick, let's see here. Learn how to change generational programming by understanding, creating your own frequency. What do you mean by generational programming?
Yeah, we actually are carrying our ancestors' blood in our bodies and their genetics and their DNA. So if somebody in our lineage was fearful of spiders because maybe they got bit and could have, passed away or had some kind of reaction, so that sequence is now in the bloodline. And so there's people all over this planet who are scared of spiders and they don't know why. And
I'm one of them. I'm one of them. Yeah.
See?
I can handle snakes and rats and bugs, but if you put a spider on me, I will jump up on the chair and scream like a little child.
So now, can you imagine how different it would be if you weren't fearful? I pick them up and kick them outside.
I do that. I've gotten better, but they do still creep me out.
Right. So there's something everybody's carrying around that's part of the invisible. And if you can't always see it to understand it, but then there's a conscious, that's part of the conscious evolution of, okay, this really can't hurt me, really. I'm way bigger than this, but you're giving it so much power, right? So that's where you're going to move back towards yourself and realize you have all the power all the time. You just have to be aware of it. So it's really important that people are paying attention to more than this too, because when you get your body at a very high frequency, we're doing this also because there's a lot of like radiation and 5G and other frequencies that are embedding our bodies all day, every day. We're sitting in front of our computers, we're touching our devices, so this is where it's really important that you have the right nutrients and supplements. You're going to need supplements. There's no way we're eating all the time correctly. And those supplements are like a boost, a super boost. Mm-hmm. So when you add those supplements, you're going to feel better. You're going to sleep better. You're going to function better. You're going to perform better. You're going to behave better and make better choices. So there's a lot that it's a new lifestyle. The new earth is shifting our lifestyle to think differently, act differently, function differently, behave differently. It's a whole new level.
And of course, the one example you use is spiders. So it makes me laugh because the logic side is like, I know that this spider is not going to hurt me. It may bite me, but it's not going to kill me. But I've long wondered, like, where does arachnophobia, because it is a real fear, and I'm not really fear-based, to be honest with you, but there's something in that DNA or something from past that just, to this day, I know that they're actually great for the environment. I definitely know that, and I don't kill them. But it's just, I've long wondered, like, where does that fear that deep fear come from? And it's just funny that you use that as an example, because I would be a perfect person to fit that category. So, this book, and I think we're kind of on the same line, the same frequency, and the same vibration here, Noelle. And you talk about in the book about mastering how to connect to your higher self and use intuition. I love the word intuition. In fact, the Intuitive Prospector is part of my company name, and the word intuition, if you break the word apart, it's intuition, right? Like you spend tuition to go to college or pay for maybe a job skill. But if you use the intuition to invest in yourself, getting this book is going to be one way to start using your intuition to invest in yourself. But how does one master the ability to connect to the higher self? And what is the higher self for our listeners out there that may just be on this journey, this soul mission for the first time?
I would say doing what you absolutely love. Now, I picked up something that I hadn't picked up in decades, and that was a baton, okay? And I hadn't twirled a baton in, 40 years, let's say. And I pick it up, and it was like riding a bike. And I got so happy twirling my baton. And people were like, did you used to, lead the band? And I said, no, I roller skated with my baton when I was 10 or whatever, And now I twirl my baton every day. I have it in the car. I have it in the house. I have multiple ones to pick up. And when music's on, I pick it up and dance with it. So anything that puts you in a happy, high vibrational state. So if you like to ride your bike, if you like to dance, or go take that dance class you've always wanted to, it's going to burn off a lot of things in your body. It's going to, get your cells in unison, happy, and just functioning at your optimum level, because you're going to be feeling fabulous. Music contains a very high frequency, and you add that with dancing and feeling good. Like when I'm twirling, I can feel the cells in my body excited and happy. I get tingly, especially when the right song comes on. I can't sit down. I have to jump up no matter where I'm at. I'm like, I got to do this. In fact, I jumped in the parade. In the city I live in, they have a parade every 4th of July. So they've done it for over 100 years. And the last 2 years, I have jumped in front of bands just unannounced for the heck of it. I'm like, I never did it when I was younger. I'm like, why not do it now? And so my friends are, in the crowd cheering me on. And then there's people that, have known me because of my profession of 20 years being a realtor. They know who I am, and they're yelling at me, and it's pretty comical. But as I say, just do you. And no judgment. Yeah. Who cares what anybody else thinks? Have fun. Pick up that one thing that you've always wanted to do, whether it's learn to play an instrument or cook better, take a cooking class. It's the inspire. You're going to transpire and you're going to rewire is what you're going to do, basically.
I love that. Or jump in front of a band and lead the band in a parade. Why not, right? Yeah. Great diamond there. So what happens as you turn on your superpowers? And for those that are listening, this can be, they may not embrace, how can you handle and how would you share on how to deal with the invisible world, the invisible energy? I always say we have 3 eyes in life. The 2 physical eyes to see what's in front of us, but then that third eye, which is tied to the pineal gland in the brain, which is, accessing the invisible world or the invisible impressions of what we feel versus what we see. How would you share with the listeners today about how to handle that and how you dealt with it as you turned on your superpowers?
Okay, I love this because I do talk about this first chapter as well. These glands, the water. So one of the easiest and best ways to do this that I'm sure a lot of people haven't thought of is I want you to get a shower head water filter. They come with, 15 filters to 20 filters, and screw it on under your shower head and use that. First of all, that is now changing. Your biggest organ is your skin, and you're getting all the toxins out, the pesticides, the fluorides, and when you wash your hair, your face, all of that's going right into your brain, and it's going into your third eye if it's the not good water. But once you have filtered water, now you have high vibration, high frequency water going into those areas. And now it's going to open up more sensory for you to understand things that you couldn't understand.
Okay, so filtered water.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm just taking a note here because I'm gonna try to apply what I'm doing as well. So get a shower filter. But what happens like you start to? So I get it. You're clearing the energy. You're clearing your auric field. You're clearing the third eye, the pineal gland, all that. But for those that are just starting on this journey, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with this, impression, or I'm just feeling overwhelmed from this energy? Maybe it's based on, somebody in the relationship. The energy field can go up to 20 feet in diameter. What do you share with people in the book about how to see it, how to handle it, and deal with it?
I go grounding. If people know what grounding is, earthing, where you go and take off your shoes and you walk barefoot on the sand or the grass. In sometimes cases, I'll lay down. I'll even go hug a tree because the trees it's a high magnetic field of information. That energy, literally, when you're hugging a tree, it's hugging you back and it's healing your whole body, actually. And there's a picture of me in the book. It's funny because somebody said, don't put pictures in the book because that's not how books are written. I'm all, well, this is my book, and I'm going to do what my third eye tells me to do. And it's add pictures. So I did, and it's funny because people make fun of tree huggers, but what they don't understand is there's a network of information with these trees. They're connected kind of like the World Wide Web underneath the ground, and they're communicating. And so you can actually go and hug that tree, and it'll give you information telepathically once again. There's so much coming off the earth and each other, and then so you just got to clear yourself. Actually going in a salt water is another good way to clear the energy. Riding a bike, believe it or not, that actually clears it out. And even salt baths, there's things you can do because you're going to have to, it's like resetting yourself. And you might have to kind of go be alone for a while and clear yourself because you have to remove that person's energy out of you in order to stay connected to your higher self. So, yeah, we pick it up all day long. And just making that extra time, even if it's going for a walk around the block, getting the sunshine, putting on some music, anything positive you want to hear. You can put on any affirmations or recordings that you want to reprogram the mind with.
Beautiful. So nature, a big part of it. I love forest bathing. I love sound baths. If you've ever had a sound bath, I always find that beneficial. Music, dancing, movement. What I love about being a tree hugger, and I love that you've reached your authentic self, getting in front of a band in a parade, go out and hugging a tree and not caring about what others think of you because people always have an opinion about you, right? And part of finding your authentic path is to just do you. And what I love about nature, which is our greatest teacher, our greatest engineer, our greatest healer, is it's that symbiotic relationship that you were talking about. Not only are when you hug the tree and the connection underneath the roots, but you got to remember they're also providing us the oxygen because they're taking our carbon dioxide and they're filtering that out through our trees, through our oceans, and they're giving us the ability to breathe. So there is a strong symbiotic relationship that we forget about in modern society. So for you those listening, if you want to find your superpowers, get this journal and this book, but also head out into nature and you'll be surprised of just how beautiful, powerful, and connection nature can have for you on your journey. So, Noelle, I told you the time goes by quick, so I got a few more questions for you before we wrap up here. What do you want to see this book do for humanity? Because we're in a crisis right now. We're at a crossroads. We're at a tipping point. We're at a paradigm shift with where we go with humanity and our technology, our artificial intelligence. Last week they just, for the first time in history, under oath, confirmed that we're not alone in the universe. So let's talk about what does this book do for humanity, and where do you want to see it go in the next 10, 20, 30 years? Oh,
wow. Yes. It will teach Ascension for people. And you're right. We are not alone because we'll be able to understand that. I believe we are going to travel out into the universe. That is our future. And we are being prepared to accept what's coming and be open to the changes. I'm here to build the foundation of the new earth and bring in information that people can start to see that it's a bit futuristic, And I love that people are open to it. Some not so much, but others who are ready, they're the ones that are going to ascend faster. And that's where we're moving, is the ascension cycle. And I would actually go in my living room sometimes after I wrote a chapter, and my third eye would open wide up, and I could see people that I was talking to. I would like start talking about the chapter, and people in the crowd would start ascending. And I was just like, wow, this is what this book is going to do. And I knew it. I'm getting the chills right now as I'm saying it. I knew it as I was writing it. And I thought, this is bigger than me, but this is amazing. I'm excited to share what we're going and what's coming next. So yes, a whole new world. For sure.
A whole new world. Yeah, it's like I said, I truly believe I've been doing this show for 8 seasons, and we've covered many topics, and I truly believe now we're at, in the year 2023 in numerology is the year of truth. It's a 7 energy, which was, Pythagoras' favorite number, his lucky number. And it's a year of truth where there's many truths that are coming out that we can see within our reality. And I do believe that ascension, yeah, you're right. History always teaches us about 70% of the population will move forward with ascension and embrace the change. But you're always going to have 30% that refuse to, acknowledge, embrace, maybe fight or protest against. That's just part of our path. But I do believe that we're in the beginning stages of the biggest collective awakening ever seen in the history of mankind. And I think a part of that is realizing that we're not alone in the universe, as the James Webb Telescope continues to show us, and these hearings that are taking place. I've never seen, and I've had interactions with UFOs. I've done episodes on it in my days in the Coast Guard back off the coast of Puerto Rico and the Bermuda Triangle back in the late 90s. And so I've always been a believer, but to now see it on TV where people are under oath, under whistleblower protection saying, yes, we have these ships. Yes, we've recovered non-biological humans. And we've been doing this for years. You're just like, okay, it's like a Star Trek moment, like, okay, beam me up, Scotty, what's next, as we go out and to explore the universe. So what resources from this book or from your experiences, Noelle, would you like to share with the younger generation? Because this younger generation is all grown up in a world of technology. Technology is the new religion. Technology is the new renaissance of where we're going.
And this is important. We are preparing our bodies to go up and out. That's what we're doing. That's why the food's really, and the water, everything is really important. And I do talk about a special water filtration system in there that has 26 different types of minerals and supplements for all of our organs to prepare. And we need to not alter our bodies in any way, shape, or form. We're going to be presented with chips for the hands, chips for the head or the brain or the in different parts of the body. In the foot, we do not want to do that because it will alter your frequency. It will shift your central nervous system. It will completely not able you to transcend and ascend. So this is what's really important, because I see remember I can see, I am a 7, by the way, in Destiny. So it's funny you brought up a lot of 7s, and I'm like, yep, 7, yep. I'm right there. I'm just supposed to be doing this. So yeah, I connect the past, the present, and the future, and I am a truth seeker and a truth speaker. And sometimes people don't always want to hear it and see it. But I'm like, nope, I got to do it. And if I can't talk about it on the air, I put it in the book, because I'm like, well, we can't talk about it, but you could read about it and be informed about it. So yeah, there's a lot of nuggets in and numerology's in there too. So I love that you're bringing it right up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's, lots of good nuggets. Again, if you want to get this journal of tapping into your superpowers, go to noellehipke.com. Noelle, it's been a pleasure having you on today. So many good nuggets, so many diamonds, so much spiritual gold in this last hour, and to, continue to write, continue to prospect and share your visions, as we move ahead. You talked about that lesson, that learning, the lesson repeats until it completes, and what we resist persists. So, keep moving forward and with transformation and ascension. And again, thank you so much. I'd love to have you back for maybe a part 2, because it's always so hard to get, a book in an hour, right? It's like watching a movie after you've read a best-selling book and trying to watch this movie in 2 hours. It's kind of the same concept. We're only just glossing the surface of this, and there's always so much more I can get into. But for the sake of time, I want to just say thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, and you are the inspired and the inspiration.
Oh, gratitude to you too as well.
All right. Well, again, noellehipke.com if you want to check out the book, Superpowers, A Journey to Self-Health. This has been another inspiring episode of Inspired Living Radio. I appreciate you tuning in and listening to us. And I'm just going to leave you with this. You either suffocate with fear or explode with passion. You are the alchemist. You decide. Until our next soul adventure together, be kind, caring, and compassionate. Most importantly, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and discover the diamond within.